What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we had some crazy hands. A hand where we won with ace high in a $700 pot. A hand where we had jacks against kings. Could we hold? Stay till the end to find out. So today, guys, is day 2 of trying to turn our $800 into $8,000. Yesterday, we were off to a pretty good start. We won $1,000, so we're up to $1,800 today. Let's see what we can do. First hand of the day, we had queens here, and we see a flop of 229, and we're going to bet $39. The player on the button here, he's going to call us, and we're not scared. It's very unlikely that he has a deuce with our raise pre-flop. Then on the turn is going to come an 8 of spades. We're going to choose a sizing here of 65. Still looking to get some value out of this opponent. We don't want to bet too big. And we also want to see maybe give this guy some rope to raise if he has some kind of 9 with a good kicker or something like that. The river comes a jack. We're not really scared of that either. It does bring in the straight draw, but that would be a weird hand for this guy to have given all the action. So we choose a sizing of 109, kind of on the smaller side again, trying to get some more value out of this guy. He's going to think it over, and ultimately he's going to think that his hand is not good enough, and he is going to lay it down. So we're going to scoop up a pot there, and we are going to win around $140 on that first hand there. The next hand we're going to play here, we're going to be in the small blind, and we have king jack of diamonds. This is a pretty good hand, and this opponent is going to raise it up to 28. When the button calls here, playing out of position with this kind of hand isn't something we really want to do. So we're going to do the raise fold strategy. So we're going to raise here. If they raise it back, we'll probably just lay it down. But we are going to choose this strategy because we don't want to really play a flop here for 28. If we hit a king or a jack, we don't really know where we're at too much. Player could have like ace, king, king, queen, something like that, middling hand that's above ours. So we want to raise it up, maybe just scoop the pot up here, but that's not going to happen. We are actually going to go, after these guys decide to act, we're going to go 4 ways to a flop. It's going to be king high, so pretty good for us, but again, we don't really know where we're at. Because of that, we choose to bet smaller. We're going to do 1/4 pot. We just want to see maybe a player would raise here if they have a better king. And we're just going to proceed with caution here, kind of not knowing really where we're at. It's kind of strange here going 4 ways to a flop with like 80 or 90 in per person before the flop. So we get 2 players to fold, and we're thinking maybe this guy's going to fold and we're just going to scoop up a pot. He decides to call. When the turn comes a 3, it's very unlikely that he has a 3. So now we're thinking maybe our king is good. Still, we don't want to bet too much. So we are going to choose a sizing here of 169 going into a pot of almost 600 there. This player is going to think it over for a little while, and he is going to ultimately decide to call here. So again, we don't really know where we're at. When the ace comes in on the river, we don't exactly love that, but this guy only has 226 left. We're just going to put them all in and maybe make him make a tough decision here. So we're going to jam, and he is going to call us, and we're going to see that he had a full house, and he flopped a set of 9s, turned the full house, so we weren't really getting away from that. Unfortunate turn of events there, and now we are down 600-ish on the day. So really not what we were looking for there. Maybe could have played it a little differently, maybe check back that river, but I think he jams, and then I don't know if we could find a fold there, but we want to be the aggressor in the situation there. It's just an unfortunate turn of events that he hit his set there. He didn't raise us at all through the pot, so I don't really know what we could have done differently there other than just maybe betting less and taking our foot off the pedal. But we do like to play aggressive. That's our approach here, so we're going to continue doing that. So looking to climb back, we got ace-king here. We raise it up pre-flop to 28, and when we hit this flop, there's not much for us to do other than just check and hope that this player decides to bet. We have probably the best hand here 99% of the time. It's very unlikely that he has ace-deuce or pocket deuces. So when he bets 16, we think it over, thought about raising. We're just going to call. Spade comes in on the turn, so now maybe he has a flush here. Probably still unlikely. We probably have the best hand here. And after thinking it over for a second, this player is going to decide to just check it, and we are going to go to the river here, and the river is going to bring in another spade. Because of this, we're just going to check it and hope that he doesn't have a spade here. He's going to see this and think, maybe I could represent this spade, and he's going to bet. When he chooses 88, it's kind of a weird sizing. We're just going to flick in the call. I don't really think there's much else for us to do here. And then we are going to see the good news that he was just bluffing with queen high and he did not have a spade. So he did not have a flush. We win there with our trips, and our stack goes back up to around 300. Here we are with ace queen. We are going to be in the big blind here, and a player in middle position raises it up to 28. We're going to go for that old strategy of raising it up. We don't want to play this hand out of position, so we raise it up to 84, and he is going to think it over, and ultimately he is going to call. So we will see a flop of 5-5-10. We're going to continue the aggression here. We're going to bet like we have a pair of some sort. Probably our opponent doesn't connect with this board unless he has a 10, so we bet 70, hoping that he'll just lay it down. And after thinking for a couple seconds, he does lay it down, so we scoop up a decent pot there, and our stack goes over 400 now. And then we are here with queen jack offsuit. Since we're in late position, we're just going to opt for a call here, and the button chooses to raise it up to 24. This is why we don't really like to raise a lot in later position / mid position, because a lot of players playing this online like to raise, so we don't want to raise and then have them re-raise and us really be in a sticky spot. We flop queen high here, which is good for our hand. He's going to bet 23, and not much else for us to do other than just call. We're going to check it to him on the turn. He's going to check it back, and we're going to see a free river, and the river is going to pair the board. It's going to be another 4. I thought about lead betting here, but I think the better option is to give him some rope here and have him do the betting for us, and then maybe we could raise, maybe we could call. So we do that and hope that he sticks in a bet, still thinking we got the best hand. When he bets 80, we're just going to jam it on him, and if he has a weaker queen, then, maybe we get some value, but he could have had us beat. We want to put him in a tough spot there, so that's exactly what we did, and he folds. Couple hands later, we have ace jack, and we are in the small blind here. We are going to raise this up in the small blind, hoping that we can just take this down here. We don't really want to play out of position. This player is going to call, and this player here to the left of us has been 3-betting pre-flop all day long. He's really been raising it up a ton and just scooping up these small pots. Like here, usually 2 players would fold, and he just scooped that up. We've recognized this, and we want to kind of exploit that. So we decide to go for a raise here, and we're going to raise to 250, and the player in between us is going to fold. This guy's going to say 250 is not enough. He's going to go all in. We really don't have much left, so we just kind of got to call. And we're going to see the bad news. He was ahead, and he flopped trips, and we're going to lose there. So down 800 on the session. Obviously not the way we wanted to start. Couple plays that really we got unlucky with. Couple plays that weren't so good with that ace jack there. Really not a hand you want to do that a lot with, but we were trying to exploit his 3-betting range. Obviously that didn't work in that case. So we rebought, and we're back here with another bullet of 800. We only have 200 left if we lose this for this challenge. So thankfully we won yesterday, because if we didn't, then this challenge would already be over. So here we are. We got 10-8 of hearts. We flop top pair, and this opponent decides to bet, and we call him. We're going to lead bet here because we have top pair, and we don't want it to just get checked through because a lot of rivers are not going to be good for us with a lot of draws out there. So we lead bet for 76. This opponent is going to think it over, and he's going to stick in the call. 10's on the river gives us 3 of a kind, so we love that card. Not really going to give him much help unless he has a better 10 than us, which obviously we don't want. We're going to bet 152, choose a smaller sizing, maybe towards like half pot, a little less than half pot there, try to get some value. Maybe we could have gone smaller here, but he's going to think it over, and he is going to fold. So we are going to scoop up a pot there and get our stack moving in the right direction. Now our stack is up to about 986. Now I wanted to freeze this hand before the next one plays. Our stack was at 986, and as you see here, it's at 672. I didn't include every hand because we don't play every hand to the end, and I don't really want to bore you guys with just mediocre hands. But I wanted to just call out myself and say that I bleed chips a lot, and that's something I'm working on. That's something that a lot of players do, so I'm trying to avoid that, but I wanted to just explain that, and that's why my stack's low, and I don't want you guys thinking that I'm not showing hands that I'm losing, because I am losing hands, but it's just smaller hands, and to include all of those, it just make the video super long and really boring. So anyways, with the blabbering, let's get on to the next hand. So we got pocket eights here. We are in the under the gun +1, and we raise it up to 24. The player to the left of us is immediately going to raise it to 72. So not really much for us to do here. We don't want to raise it and get into a flip situation with just pocket eight. So we're going to decide to just call, and we're going to go heads up to a flop of ace 4-4. We're going to check it to him in flow since he led into us and raised us on the pre-flop. And he's going to go for a wicked small sizing here, which is strange. The pot is 174, and he decides to bet 32. So we're going to snap him off. We really don't think that he likes that ace, and so because of that, when the 5 comes in on the turn, we're going to lead bet here and try to represent that. And obviously, he doesn't like this too much, and he is going to think it over, and he is going to fold. So we make a nice play there. Obviously, we didn't have the ace, but we represented it, and we clearly saw that he didn't like it. Maybe he had kings or queens or some kind of pocket pair, maybe just a middling hand, and maybe we were ahead. Who knows? But he didn't like that ace. We represented the ace, and we are going to win that pot, and we are going to continue here. So the next hand we play, we're in late position, and we raise it up to 24 with ace queen. And like I said, this player here, we played this session for about 2 hours. He was at the table for almost the whole time. He loved to 3-bet, and it didn't work out earlier when we tried to raise him. So we thought about that, and we decided to just call here. We got ace queen. When it comes 2-2-5 on the flop, we check it through. The turn's another 5. We probably have the best hand here. I don't think that he has a pair here, so we decide to bet. He calls the turn. River comes a 4, brings in spades, but we're not too worried about it. We decide to bet 172. Maybe he'd call, and maybe we'd chop, like having 2 paired and having ace high together, but he folds ultimately, and we scoop up a decent pot there, getting our stack to back around to 900. So still down in the session, but the very next hand, we're going to get pocket 3s. We decided to limp here. Again, in online, I play it a lot different than in person. And as we see here, the limp makes sense because this player raises it up. Who knows if he would have raised it if we had raised it. But anyways, it doesn't matter. We are going to wait for it to get to us. And since it's going to be heads up, we're just going to decide to call, hoping for a 3. Not what we get. Flop comes king, queen, 9. Really not a good flop for us. But when he checks, show him maybe that he didn't hit a pair on that flop. And because of that, we're going to decide to bet here. We're going to lead bet for 23. Pretty small, giving him some rope to maybe raise us if he does have a better hand, and then we can just fold. Or maybe he just folds, or maybe he calls, and maybe we hit a 3 on the river. He's going to raise here, and not much for us to do other than just fold. So that is exactly what we do there. The very next hand, we are going to be dealt 9-3 suited, and we are going to be in the under the gun automatic straddle. So this player in middle position is going to raise it up to 20. This is a decent sizing for us. It's only $12 more, and we are going to decide to play it here heads up. The flop's going to come with 2 clubs. We like that. We're going to check it in flow to him, though. Flush is going to come in on the turn for us. We like it. We're going to lead bet here. We don't want it to get checked through again. Choose a smaller sizing of 15, hoping that he calls. And he is going to call. River's going to come a jack, pretty inconsequential to the hand. For us, obviously, we have the flush, so the jack doesn't matter. Board's not paired. We probably have the best hand here. We go for a pot size bet. Maybe have him think that we're just trying to bet for a bluff, and it doesn't work out. He doesn't call. He folds pretty quickly, so I don't think we're going to get much value there on the river anyways. Here we are, and we got pocket jacks. Again, the same player trying to exploit with that 3-betting range, and he raises it up to 100. We're going to fire back to 400, and he's going to fold pretty quickly. So this player's been doing that a lot, like I talked about earlier, and that's going to come into play later with some plays that we make. Here we are, under the gun +1, and we have ace-9, and it's offsuit, but we're already in. This player's going to raise to 32, and we're going to think it over, and we're just going to go heads up with him. Ace-high flop, pretty good for us. Again, we've seen this guy make some wacky plays. So we're going to check to him on the turn when the ace comes again. And now we have a full house on the river. We're just going to lead bet and hope that maybe he raises, maybe he calls here. But he's going to think it over for a little while. And then he is going to fold. So we didn't get any value there, but, you know, we won the hand. So that's pretty good. Stacks over 1,000 now as we climb back. Obviously, we're in for 1,600 here, so we're still down a decent chunk. When we get in the small blind here with ace queen, we have 2 players in for 20 before us. We're going to raise it up to 96. We don't want to play this hand out of position, and it's a premium hand, so we're happy with raising it and just scooping this up if we can. And that's what's going to happen. So now our stack's up to over 1,100. And the next hand here, we have Queen Jack. It's going to be the very next hand after that last hand. We're going to be on the button here. And it's almost going to fold around to us. And this player before us is going to raise it up to 24. Being on the button, this isn't really a hand that you want to play. But since we're in good position, we're going to decide to call here. Maybe see a cheap flop. This player, again, like I've said, he loves to 3-bet, and I think you guys have been able to see that in just the hands that I've shown. He's been doing it almost like every single hand that people have been raising, so obviously I'm not including every hand. And for that reason here, we are going to decide to make a slim call here. Not really the best play with this kind of hand, but we're sick of this guy just bullying everybody around. He doesn't seem to like that, and when the flop comes king high, he chooses a very small sizing of 77. We're going to raise it up, hoping that we can just get a fold here. Obviously, we don't have anything, but we think that he has less than our nothing. So we raise it up, and he's going to think, and maybe he's thinking what we're thinking, and he can out-chip us and out-big ball us, but he's going to be in for some bad news. So he's going to call. Turn's going to bring in the ace. We're going to keep firing like we do, repping that name, Big Daddy Bluff. So we're going to stick in a bet here, 200. He's going to think it over, and he's going to be like, you know what, I give up. And we're going to scoop up a very nice pot there of 1,500. So an unconventional play, but that was player-oriented, and we're just sick of that guy doing that. And obviously, he really didn't have much. I think if he had a king or an ace there, he probably would have called. So he's probably doing it with junk, and we probably were even good with queen high. A couple of hands later, we're here with pocket queens. This player raised it up to 26. We're going to 3-bet him to 78. We flop the world. The board is not wet at all. It's rainbow. It's ace high, and we hit a set. So we're going to check it over to him, hoping to give him some rope to bet. He doesn't bet, and I think that we probably could have checked it over to him again and had him bet. Looking back at this hand, I think that would have been the right play, but we decided to lead bet, and we take that pot down there. So that's fine. Always good winning a pot, especially when we don't have much of a challenge there. So now our stack is officially over our 1,600 that we're in for. So right now we're up 39. It's beautiful. We battled all the way back from being down 800. So great job by us. Obviously, could have made some better plays early on to not get into that situation, but it's always good when we can battle back and keep our head on our shoulders and keep playing steady. So here we are in the button. Opponent raises to 20, and we're going to raise to 60 with ace-jack suited here. Maybe scooping this pot up before the flop or seeing a flop here. We don't mind seeing a flop with this kind of hand, but we want to start building that pot in case we do hit something good. This opponent's going to think it over for a second. He's going to call. Flop's going to come jack high. Not much better of a flop for us than that. Maybe he has a weaker jack, or maybe he has a 10 here. So he's going to check to us in flow. We are going to decide to bet, and we are looking to get called, so we bet 38. We want to keep him in here and kind of extract some value from him, so we don't want to go too big, and it's going to work out for us. He is going to fold here, so it's not really the best thing that's going to happen. Would have preferred him to call, but obviously he didn't have much. We only bet 38, and the pot was like 170, so he really must have had nothing to call that. So that was good, getting our stack up over 1,700. A couple hands later, we have queen 5, and we're in the straddle. Really, this guy, he was irking me all day, so I decided to call here, only 16 more, and we flopped 2 pair. Very good flop for us. Not many hands that are beating us. He's going to bet 60, continue his aggression from the pre-flop, and we decided to call here. When the ace comes on the turn, it's pretty good. It hits his range very well. When he bets 63, we're going to decide to raise it up because we think that he might have a middling hand that we can get him to call with, and we hope the river is clean for us, and maybe we can extract some more value. So we raise it up about 100 over his bet, raise it to 176. He's going to think it over for a little bit, and he's going to call, which we do like to see, maybe getting some more value on the river. Unfortunately, the river is going to come another ace, We do not like that at all, and we're going to choose a smaller sizing here of 136. I assume if he doesn't have an ace, he probably won't call, but he has pocket kings, and we get counterfeited. He's going to have kings and aces, which beats our flop 2 pair. Very bad run out for us there. That river card was very bad, and he's going to take that pot away from us. Really, he had no business being in that hand, especially when we check raise the turn there when the ace comes. It's a pretty bad play there with kings calling that, and then when the river comes in, another ace. Maybe that's why he called, made it less likely that we had an ace, and he makes the hero call there and gets the chips. So pretty frustrating there, but, queen 5, maybe we shouldn't have been in that hand in the first place. And here we are in this pot, and we got second pair. We decide to bet the turn, and we decide to bet the river again. When it checked through on the flop, we'd think nobody has a king. Unfortunately, we see that this player had a king, and we're going to lose a small pot there. Our stack's back down to like 1,200 now, under the 1,600 that we're in for, so now we're losing again. But, hey, we're here to play, so who cares? Now we're on the button. We got ace-5 of diamonds. Player in the under the gun is going to raise to 20. We call. Then this guy, again, loves to 3-bet. Mr. 3-bet here. He is going to raise it up to 104. And like we've seen all day, he's been doing this with kind of weird hands. So we're going to call. We're going to smash the flop, hit a flush draw, and he bet 64. We're going to choose a raise here just in case he has a pair here. We want to just get some value in. And if he wants to get the chips in, we're fine with getting it in with our draw. But we see that he probably didn't have much there, and we are going to scoop that pot up there. So pretty decent. We're up to 1,500 almost, and we pick up ace-king here. We're in middle position, so we decided to raise it up to 24. And what do you know? I wasn't kidding when I said it earlier. This guy loves to raise every single time. So knowing that, we are going to raise it up here. Usually I'd probably just call. Maybe I'd raise, but against this player, we're going to go for a raise here. So we raise it up to 200 from his 76. He's going to think it over, and he's going to think that he likes his cards enough to call. So we are going to go to a flop that is king high. We love it. We are going to continue betting here. And with the pot being 430, we're going to go half pot. We're going to bet 215, and we're going to see that this guy was full of it again. And we're going to scoop up a pot there. Now our stack's over at 1,600 again, and we're up about 150. Now we're on the button. We got ace-8 suited. Pretty good hand here. This player in middle position is going to raise to 24. We're going to call, and let's see what Mr. 3-bet here does. And what do you know? He is going to think, and he's going to fold. So there you go. He doesn't 3-bet this time, and we're going to be heads up with a different opponent. Flop's going to come 9-8 queen. The pre-flop aggressor, he's going to slow down. And when he slows down and we hit a pair, we're going to decide to bet here. Maybe get him out of the hand here. Obviously, we have bottom pair, but he didn't like that flop too much when he checked to us. So he's going to call. Turn's going to give us the nut flush draw, so we're going to continue betting. Choose a sizing of 59 here, looking to get some equity. If he decides to call, we still have some outs. And when the 7 comes on the river, and he had called our turn bet, we're just going to give up here. Maybe could have bet again, but he had top pair there, so it looked like a good decision. He probably would have called our bet there. So we don't improve on the river, and we make a pretty decent check back there to lose maybe the minimum on that hand. Now, the next hand here, guys, this is probably the weirdest hand that I've ever played in a long time that I can remember. So we're going to be in middle position here. We're going to make a pretty standard call here with ace-6 offsuit. Not a hand you want to be raising with a lot. And when this player calls here in the big blind, the straddle player is going to decide to raise, chooses a bigger sizing of 48. To me, this looks like he is trying to just steal the pot here. So maybe we have him beat here with ace-6. Who knows? We're going to find out. This player here thinks his hand's good enough, and he's going to call. So 3 ways to a flop of 5-5-3. This flop shouldn't really connect with a lot of players' hands here. So that player is going to check. The pre-flop aggressor, he's going to think about it here, and he is ultimately going to check as well. And we don't have much to do here other than just betting. We could have checked it, but when they show weakness, we want to bet that 40. Again, like I said, I thought this player might have been trying to steal the pot. So if I was correct, then we'd probably get it through here, and he'd probably fold. Unfortunately, he calls here, so kind of a weird spot. Not really sure what he has. So when the 8 comes on the turn, not really a card that's going to connect with either of our ranges a lot. So we're going to continue betting. Choose a smaller sizing of 75 here. And this player's going to think it over. And ultimately, he's going to call again. 4 comes on the river. And, we're just going to go for the bluff here. We're going to go for the 3-barrel. We bet every street. Might as well just continue betting. So we're going to bet 154. And this player's going to think it over for a little while. Again, I don't really know what he has here. But when he thinks it over and he ultimately sticks in the call, we think that we're probably beat. And we come to find out that he calls with king high. So our ace high is actually going to be good there. And we're going to scoop up a pot of about $700. That's got to be one of the weirdest hands I've ever played. I can't believe he called there. If he went all in, I probably would have just folded. So I don't know what that guy was thinking. Maybe he thought his king high was good. But it did look like he was trying to steal the pot pre-flop. And he calls our bet on the river with just king high, so very strange. Now here in late position, this player raised it up to 20. We got pocket jacks on the button, so we raise it to 60. Player to the left of us raised to 180. We don't really like that that's a 4-bet to 180, so we decide to call here and proceed with caution. Maybe he could have a hand that's better than us. We don't really want to flip here for how much we have, especially since we battled back, and now we're up on the session after being down 800. He's going to bet 120 on the flop. Pretty standard C-bet there in proportion to the pot. Now the turn is a jack, so we hit our set here. We're loving life. Waiting to see what this guy does. Obviously, ace-king hits a straight. The spades come in, but we don't really know. He bets 164. We're ready to find out whether he has the nuts, whether he has whatever, and we are just going to raise it here with our set. Looking to find out what's going on in this hand. Maybe he folds, and if he goes all in here, we'd be in a tough spot. After thinking for a little while, he's going to decide to call here. So we don't really know what he has, and he's going to check to us. And rather than just going for an all-in and trying to take his last $400, we're just going to check it back here. And we're going to see the great news that he had pocket kings. We're going to win a pot of over $1,400, and that's going to bring our stack up. We're going to win over 1,054 after being down. That means our 2-day total, bringing our stack to $2,946, being up $2,100 after 2 days towards that goal of being to 8,000. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and come back again tomorrow for another video.